Hello, my name's Jane Denning from Medusa Games, and I'm going to talk you through one of our games, Nineworlds. So here we have a board set out as though for 3 players. It's set in the 9 worlds of Norse mythology, so we have Midgard in the middle, where men live, Asgard, home of the gods, Valhalla up above, and all the other worlds here as well, and Helheim down below. Each player starts off with an avatar. This is me. And I'm going to use this avatar and my army of stones in order to conquer the 9 worlds. This is a strategy game. There's no element of luck. There's no dice to roll. There are no cards that you have to draw, but there is a considerable amount of player interaction, as you will see. So in a 3-player game as this, each player has 8 action points to spend on a turn. So they start off, and what can they do with their action points? They're all set out on the player card that you would have with you, but just very briefly, it costs me a point to take a stone from my reserve and place it on my player card, and another point to go from here to Alfheim, where I am. If I want instead to go straight to Midgard, I can do that, but that would cost 2 action points. So if I want to move a lot of stones across to Midgard, it would make sense to first move myself across for 1, and then I can go from my player card to there for 1 point each. I can move myself around the board for 1. I can move you around for 2. I can move my own stone for 1, or one of yours for 2. But if you're standing next to it, it would now cost me 3 points to move, whereas if I'm the one standing next to it, it would only be 1. So an avatar can protect their own stones and also makes it easier to move other people's stones around. I can also send stones into Helheim or bring them back out again. So as you can see, being first player, not an advantage. In fact, quite a disadvantage in larger numbers of players in the game. So to counteract that, in a 4-player game, first player gets an extra action point per turn, and in a 5- and 6-player game, both first player and second player have additional action points to spend. So each player in turn spends all of their points, and then we have to look at the board and see if there are any worlds that have at least 5 stones, as having 5 stones means that the power of that particular world will be activated. All the powers are different, but they're all useful in the game, and again they're all set out on the card. So looking here, this world has 5 stones that are all orange, so that will clearly be an orange power. By contrast, we have far too many stones currently on Jotunheim. So we then have to determine which colour is actually going to have that world power. And again, there's no chance element here. It's all a matter of maths, as you simply take stones off in player order. First round of the game, player order is determined by the world numbers. After that, it's down to who has the most stones on the board at the end of the previous round. So here we go. Green, then purple, orange, green, purple. Now we are down to 5 stones. As you can see, there are 2 green and 2 purple. So if that was the case and the avatar was not there, then no colour would have actually won. Then the world power would be active, but nobody could use it. However, the avatar was there, which means that purple will have that power. So all of these stones came off in that particular battle, but purple won. So the first of the purple stones, only the first one, gets to go to Valhalla and be fated by the Valkyries. Everything else just goes back to the various players' reserves. Once all of the battles have been resolved, you then use the world powers in the game. And the first of these is Asgard, which is a bit different from the rest because it's a shield. If I use the Asgard power, nobody can use world powers against me that turn to move my avatar or my stones around the board, but I can't use any other power either. So if Asgard's all I've got, I'll clearly use it. If not, I'm going to have to make a decision. But when I make that decision, I already know which world powers are going to be active. I also know what order they're going to happen, which is always world number order. So here it's going to be the Jotunheim power first, followed by Nidavellir. and I know which player is going to have that power. So again, there's no element of luck or chance, it's all strategy. Once all the world powers have been used, any Valhalla stone goes back to its home world and the colour immediately scores 2 points. But we don't normally score as we go. Instead, we score at the end of rounds 3 and round 6, or if you want to play the longer game, also at the end of round 9. And the way that we score is a point for every stone on a player card. Reserve is nothing. -2 for any stones that you've managed to leave in Helheim. 2 points for every stone anywhere on the board. 5 points for every world that you control. So here, although there's only 2 purple stones there, not enough to activate the world power, it is enough to get the 5 points for controlling that world. That's Orange all on his own, no army with him. A general without an army doesn't control anything, so there's no points to be had there, although avatars can work to break ties. If there is a tie and there's no avatar to resolve it, that would be 3 points each to green and purple. Add the avatar in and it then becomes a purple world, so 5 points there. So we've now looking at the board as it might be at the end of round 3. Purple's doing rather well, has got rather more points around the track than green and orange. But if I was the orange player, there's no need for me to despair. The nature of the game is however many points are available for round 3, there'll be far more stones in play and therefore more points by the end of round 6. And it's more than possible from here for me to be able to catch up and overhaul purple. So that is the basic game. If you want any additional complexity, then each of the avatars has their own power and you can flip over the player cards and use that power in the game. In addition, we also have an expansion, Sagas and Treasures, which brings in items from Norse mythology that are useful in the game, as well as objectives and ways of earning additional points. Thank you.